Welcome back to Jason's Pen Journey. Today is a new pen day. So we're going to actually go through the Sheaffer Legacy Chevron Matte Black. So this is one that just arrived today, ordered it from Pen Boutique. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the pen. We're going to show you what came in the box, ink it up, do a writing sample, and give you my impressions. A little background about Sheaffer based on some very cursory research that I did. So Sheaffer is was an American company founded in 1912. Excuse me, founded in 1913 by Walter A. Sheaffer in Fort Madison, Iowa. And he actually was the one who patented the lever filling device for fountain pens. So one of the kind of original American pen makers, going back well over 100 years. Considered one of the kind of the big four, along with Parker and Waterman and Wall Eversharp. It is not currently an American company anymore, so pens are no longer manufactured in the United States. They are no longer operated in the United States, so it's actually now nibs and everything are assembled and manufactured in China. Apparently, back office is in Slovakia, and that ownership has passed through a whole bunch of different hands over the years. It's currently sold to, at least as of last I could find, William Penn Private Limited in Bangalore, India. So not really an American brand anymore, but still very nice pen, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Like I said, this is a kind of an old school company, but it's a new design. But it's inspired by a lot of the legacy, hence the name Sheaffer Legacy. Legacy designs that they came up with years and years and years ago. The big thing about Sheaffer is that they created this inlaid nib. And I'll show it to you on camera in a moment. But that was really their big innovation that still carries forward today. Lever-filled pens were a big thing, but not really something that you see a lot today outside of the vintage world. So we're not going to talk about the lever because this isn't a lever pen, but the inlaid nib is really what they talk about as being kind of Sheaffer's, like I said, legacy. The particular Legacy Chevron Matte Black is a direct descendant of what they call the Pen for Men, or PFM. Um, it's not that you have to be a man to use the pen, but it's a little bigger, it's a little heftier. It's a wide body cigar shape pen. So it's not one that was really there for people with a little lighter hand, little lighter touch, smaller hands. Somebody like me who has got a kind of a bigger, beefier hand, probably a better fit. So let's take a look at the pen itself on the box. And then I'm going to show you some other pens for comparison, especially around the inlaid nib, and how that compares to some other nib types that are on the surface kind of similar, but not really exactly the same. So this is the Sheaffer Legacy in Chevron Matte Black. Get my microphone a little closer. So one of the things that you see is this distinctive white dot on the clip. That's one of Sheaffer's hallmarks, I guess you would say. It does say Sheaffer on the band. Sunlight's catching it quite a bit there, but you can see that. This is a snap cap, so a little pressure to pop it open, and then as you open it up, you see that inlaid nib. So the inlaid nib is basically, it's a fully integrated nib where you can see the entire length of the nib integrated into the grip section. I'll show you in a moment some comparisons, but you can see the Sheaffer name on the nib imprinted there. Then on the back of the pen, you can see this is a fine nib. This particular pen is made in both fine and medium. Those are the only two sizes available. Taking a look at the overall length of the pen. snaps back on. It's not a magnetic clip like some of the other pens I'm about to show you, but it does, clip securely. It does post fairly securely. I haven't inked this up yet, so I don't know if that's going to be comfortable. It's a heavier pen with all the metal, so that may or may not be your jam if you want to have that capped or posted or not. But it does feel pretty comfortable even not being posted. So let's take a look at the box that it came in, just so you can see that. Comes in this Sheaffer box, pretty large box for the size of the pen. Get your cardboard, and then you've got a nicer box inside. Came in a little plastic sleeve. It comes with this leather pen case as well. So if you are only carrying around one pen, fits nice and snug. And this pen case does kind of match that that Chevron style. So pretty nice case. It does. It is a converter cartridge pen. It did come with a couple of different cartridges, which I will not be using. It looks like black and blue. And then you've got a little cleaning cloth, your welcome guide, etc. So we'll put those aside. Not things we're going to be spending any real time with. And then we'll bring in the little Alfie tray to get some size comparisons. And the reason I picked up these pens to compare it against is because other than the Pilot 823 and the Lamy Safari, yes, that's Lamy Safari, these other pens are ones that have nibs that are not the inlaid nib, but have some similar characteristics that are often put into the same category as the Sheaffer. So let's take a quick look at the nibs here. So here's the Sheaffer. This is the Pilot Elite. And so the Pilot Elite has a lot of similar characteristics in that you can see the entire nib. But the way that it's described, to give you a comparison. So the Pilot Elite, Pilot E95 small, this is actually what's called an inset nib instead of an inlaid nib. So the inlaid nib, it's fully integrated, as the inset, you can see it exposed, but it's actually not fully integrated with the grip around it. It's actually kind of an adhesive holding it in place. It is removable, whereas this one is not going to be removable. And then a couple of other hooded nibs. You've got the Diplomat Viper and the Lamy 2000. These are just nibs that are covered up by the grip section. So I wanted to show those as kind of some alternatives of a similar type where you'd often confuse them. If you compare those nib types with a more classic Lamy Safari or the Pilot Custom 823, we just have the nib completely exposed. So that's kind of your differences in the way that you would line up those nibs. So inlaid, inset, hooded, and then just kind of fully exposed nibs. And then you can also, while I'm showing you, you can see the size comparisons. It's actually a shorter pen than a lot of the other ones, other than the Pilot Elite, which is a small pen itself. Clearly smaller than, say, the Pilot 823, Custom 823. It's kind of comparable in size with the Lamy 2000, but definitely a heavier pen than the Macleron in black, which is very light. If I were to pull out the Lamy 2000 stainless steel, that would be a more fair comparison in terms of weight. But the Sheaffer is definitely considerably heavier than this Lamy 2000, and obviously the other ones are also going to be a similar weight. If I compare with the Pilot 823, again, heavier pen versus the lighter body here. but now we're talking about, kind of more comparable pens. If I take these out in terms of the class of pens that we're talking about, this one is a steel nib. So forgetting about the price point for a moment, it's a steel nib. These are both gold nibs. So price point wise, these are going to tend to be a little higher, just based on the price of gold instead of steel. But now you're kind of talking about the same class of pen between kind of these three here. So let's clean this all up. And I did want to show, before I move all these other guys out of the way, so let's get this one back in play here. So again, the ones that are a little more similar, none of these are screw caps, similar to the 823, that you have to turn to open up the cap. These are all ones that are a pull. So that's a pretty firm pull on the Sheaffer. The Pilot Elite, very soft pull. The Lamy 2000, similar, where you've got the little grippy sections to hold the Lamy 2000 in place with these little metal pieces on the sides to hold that in place. And then with the Diplomat Viper, it's held in place with the magnet. So the Sheaffer is going to be, it's a little bit more work to pop it open and snap it back in place. You have to actually give it a push. Whereas this Pilot Elite is pretty light to pull apart. Similarly, the Lamy 2000 is also pretty light to push back in place. So now let's take a look at the Legacy Sheaffer, Sheaffer Legacy. Add a little bit more detail. So I already talked about it is a cartridge converter. So what we'll do is we'll pop that open, get this guy out of the way, take a look at the converter here. So you can see it does, yeah, there it goes. It's not screw in or anything like that, but it is fit really snugly in there. It's a darker, you can actually hear it pop open. It's darker inside, so unlike a lot of really truly clear converters, you got some tinting going on here, so it's going to be a little bit more work to see if it's clean. But that's not going to be a problem. So that one will be a converter fill. I'm going to fill it up with the Anderillium Spirula Green. I've been on a real Anderillium kick lately. A whole bunch of pens that I just inked up for another kind of series I'm thinking about. Did all with Anderillium inks. Just really, really enjoy this brand. They got a bunch of really cool colors. And so this is from one of their, I don't know if it's the Ichthyform series or the Cephalopod series. I can't remember the names of how they have that series, but it's Spirula Green, so nice vibrant green. Not too light, not too dark. It'll be just right. So I figured that would be a good color pop to go with the black. So let's get our towel out here so we don't make a mess. Really simple converter fill. You've all seen converters before. And if you haven't, go check out my video on different fill types. Okay, that got a pretty good fill on the first try. We'll try one more time to get a little bit more. Push it out. Pull it back in. And I know I can do a syringe fill and get a really fill, but I don't really feel like dealing with that. Certainly not on camera. Okay. Clean that off a little bit. And in a moment, I will try a writing sample. Okay, as always, I'm using Iroful A5 loose leaf paper. I try to be really consistent on that paper with the videos that I'm making. That way we know what we're getting each time. So let's try this out. And apologies if I lose my train of thought as I'm writing and talking at the same time. Try to make sure this stays on camera. A little slow to fill. It's disappointing. All right. Well, I'm going to pause the video here while I troubleshoot and research and figure out what am I missing about getting this guy ready to go. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Good news is just letting gravity do its job by holding the pen nib down for a bit seems to have let it saturate the feed. So I was experimenting off camera, and now we seem to have the pen operating okay. Let's give that another try. Looks good now. It's fairly smooth. There's a little bit of feedback that I'm getting. Nothing too crazy, but it is, a steel nib, not a smoothed out gold nib. Wow, I'm having a hard time writing at this point of the day. Blame myself, not the pen. What am I looking at? So it's the Sheaffer Legacy Chevron Matte Black, and this is a fine nib, and it's Anderillium Spirula Green. So, pretty good writer once it actually had the ink saturating the feed. Nothing really out of the ordinary once I started writing with it. Like I said, there's a little bit of feedback as I'm writing, but nothing crazy. I'm a little overly sensitive to it at the moment after having it take a while to saturate. Some people will always flush the feed, flush the nib before they start using it. It's not the way I go. I go right out of the box and live with the consequences. You only live once, and sometimes that does come back to bite me with when I try to write immediately, especially if I'm doing it on camera. A lot of times I do my videos where I don't immediately ink it up on camera for the first time. I'll actually spend more time with the pen before demonstrating it to kind of get a better sense of it. As you see here, sometimes that comes back to bite me. So anyway, the Sheaffer Legacy Chevron Matte Black. It's a really nice writer. I'm really looking forward to spending more time with it. Um, it's one that should be good now that I've got it working the way it should. Now that I got it saturated into the feed, the ink is flowing. It's not the wettest of nibs. Um, it's a fairly wet ink with the Anderillium, but not too bad. Not too dry. It's a little on the drier side than usual. But that's the Sheaffer Legacy in Chevron Matte Black. And there you have it, the Sheaffer Legacy in Chevron Matte Black with a fine nib, inked up with Anderillium Spirula Green. I'll report back over time how often it's being used, and if you have any questions about the pen, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Give a like, give a subscribe. I did mention I bought this through Pen Boutique. It is available through a lot of the kind of the well-known U.S. Retailers at the moment. Um, it's not brand new, I don't think, but it's relatively newly available. So your mileage may vary on where you can find it. I was able to find it at Pen Boutique, ordered it last week, and arrived this week. You have no idea what day it actually is when I'm saying this. It is July 8th when I'm recording this. So I ordered it last week before the 4th of July holiday. So it took a little extra time to get here thanks to the US holiday over the weekend. But nothing crazy. So you can probably find it available. And I bought it retail. I think it was $260 US. That was the retailer price. So no special discounts, no I don't have any kind of status with anybody, so I pay full freight on my pens. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with all that. It's been a long day, been a long week, been a long month, so been a long year. Anyway, questions, comments, please feel free to drop them in the YouTube comments there. Give a like to the video, give a subscribe to the channel, and until I see you next time, keep on writing.